we tried to get publishing deals. We tried to meet music supervisors. We were doing the whole thing and just weren't getting anywhere. And we realized we needed to take things in our own hands a little bit. And we decided to put that music online and see if anybody wanted to buy it and license it.
Yeah.
We had no idea what we were doing. We were not startup founders. We were not really even entrepreneurs at that point. We didn't know anything about business. We were just obsessed with this notion that you could be a blue-collar musician, and why is it so hard to make a living?
Welcome to the Music to Your Ears podcast. I am your co-host, Danny Garcia.
And I'm Jimmy Mikaoui.
And today we're joined by our guest, Travis Terrell, the co-founder and president of Soundstripe. Thank you so much for joining, Travis.
Thanks for having me. This is going to be fun.
Yeah. Taping in from Atlanta at Music Biz Conference. So how's the conference been for you so far?
It is good. It's like a homecoming of all your friends that you never get to see, or you jump on Zoom calls all year, and then they're there. So it's hard to like walk around and have some peace, because you're like seeing somebody that you haven't seen in months or years, and it's great. It just reminds you of the music business is small.
Yeah.
It's small, and you get to know people, and it's kind of like a family. So it's great. It's a great thing.
Yeah. No, I had the same kind of experience yesterday walking around. It's like just bumping into people. But I guess on the topic of the music industry, how did you get your start in it? Right? Like I'd love to just start there and learn the story of your progression and Soundstripe and dive in that way.
I think a lot of people start in the music business because they love music.
Yeah.
So that was no different for me. I grew up in a small town in East Texas, and my grandfather was around all the time with us, raised me a lot, and he had a little car dealership, and right next to the car dealership was our house, and he sold used cars. And he would just play music all the time. He started playing music when he was like 65 years old.
Wow.
Just for fun. And
Yeah.
He was a fiddle player, played a lot of old country and bluegrass and harmonica. And I was just around, like 4, 5, 6 years old, around it all the time. And all these old men would show up and smoke cigarettes and play old music with him. And it just I fell in love with it. And so I started playing the fiddle and guitar and piano, a lot of different things when I was like 7 years old. And I also started playing in my church around 10 or 11 years old. And so, it just one thing led to another. I thought I was going to be a musician my whole life. And you are a musician your whole life. But, I played music throughout my teens, and then moved to Nashville. I made my mother very mad by dropping out of college and saying, I want to be in the music business. And she was like, oh, okay.
Oh, well.
Be careful.
Yeah.
And she was right. It's a very tough business, but I ended up dropping out of college when I was 19 years old, moved to Nashville and got on the road playing music. And then that led into, record production and doing, producing records for different people. And then that led to making jingles for commercials and things like that. We really loved the process of music for video and the art of it. I was a John Williams. I was obsessed with Hans Zimmer and John Williams, and that was awesome. And so me and my business partner, Micah, we started this little recording studio, and we're working, and we're starving also. I became a tour bus driver. I was a tour bus driver for 8 years.
Wow.
I drove all these famous people around on tour, and that was 8 years of my life while producing and driving buses.
Wow.
Kind of led us to we had all this music sitting on our hard drive that we had made that was going nowhere. And we realized that there were all of these other amazing producers in Nashville, LA, New York that had the same problem. They're really talented. They had music sitting on a hard drive going nowhere. Maybe they pitched it for a sync spot that didn't land. Maybe they worked on a bunch of music with an artist that they didn't take. It could have been any number of reasons. So we just decided, and we had all we tried to get publishing deals. We tried to meet music supervisors. We were doing the whole thing and just weren't getting anywhere. And we realized we needed to take things in our own hands a little bit. And we decided to put that music online and see if anybody wanted to buy it and license it.
Yeah.
We had no idea what we were doing. We were not startup founders. We were not really even entrepreneurs at that point. We didn't know anything about business. We were just obsessed with this notion that you could be a blue-collar musician, and why is it so hard to make a living?
Yeah.
So that is the genesis of how we started the company.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
and from there, scaling up, right? I mean, do you remember one point throughout that journey where you were like, oh, we really hit something, right? Like hit a nerve here, or in a good, like, was there any feature or anything like that you hit a turning point, and it really like took off? Or was it more building block, steady kind of approach?
We did have a moment. First of all, I mean, we had the idea in 2014, and then we failed 2 times before we finally launched what is now Soundstripe.com. We started as Lavello Music, which is a terrible name for a company. It sounds like a Harry Potter spell.
Yeah.
Lavello, and then we had a bad business model. We had the bad brand. We had no real product. So on the 3rd attempt was Soundstripe, and we thought that the world was now creating more content than ever before, and there needed to be a different approach to music licensing, or at least micro licensing, licensing music at scale. If you are creating content, if you are a podcaster, a YouTuber, if you're a freelance videographer, where do you license background music? At that time, you had to go to a really like crappy stock music website.
Yeah.
Or that was your really only option. So that's why we started the company. And so we got really lucky on timing. Like we launched at the perfect time that people needed this. And the night we launched the company, I think I was playing video games in my room with my roommate at the time, and my business partner Micah. We launched the company, and I think about 8:00 at night we like got the first ding from a subscriber.
Wow.
And that was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
and this was like $10.
Yeah,
right?
but
it was just like, oh, we've got something.
Yeah.
And I think a month later we had 100 subscribers. And then by the end of the year, we had 1,000 subscribers. And that was, for us, like, okay, I think we have something. I remember it getting shared in a very, active wedding videography Facebook group in 2016, and everyone was talking about it. And so that was sort of the moment for us when, and it's small, I know, but it's like, those little moments, like I look back really fondly. Like, there wasn't a huge moment. It was just like little tiny, like bits of affirmation that you're onto something.
100%.
And that you need to keep going.
It's super validating. And I mean, I was an early user of you guys. I remember, I think maybe not so early for you, but like maybe 2017, 2018, I think I found you guys through a Facebook ad or something. and I
Wow.
subscribed, and I was a subscriber for a long time, and so it
Do
was.
you mean you canceled your subscription now?
No.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, but yeah, it's awesome because I remember learning about it and just subscribing right away. So it's really cool to hear the backstory behind that.
Now that the company has grown at the scale it is, do you feel that the talents you're working with change a lot? Is it the same producers that used to give you their hard drives of unplaced tracks, or things have changed there?
Honestly, they're some of the same people.
Mm.
We really prided ourselves in working with amazing musicians, and that has never changed. Now we can either afford, or we can talk to people that we probably couldn't get in the room with almost 10 years ago. That's certainly true, and that does happen. But I'm very proud of the fact that we still work with a lot of the people that we worked with in the early days, and those producers are amazing. We have 3 that we work with all the time that they're on actual staff of the company that started with us in the very, very, very early days, that also had hard drives of music, but then we were like, come on, let's make music all the time together. And that's a really great, I don't know, I'm really proud of that. We've changed the model of how we make music and collect music, acquire music over the years, but we try to, keep ourselves in the producer, composer, and indie artist category. And, now we're working with all sort of people. But anyway, yeah, I'm really proud of the music that's on the platform. And
To kind of explain the end game and the real impact to the artist who would have handed you part of their hard drive, is there a story where magic happened and it became a really big deal for the artist?
I live for those stories, right? Because our mission at Soundstripe is to keep creatives creating, and it's sort of sucked into our DNA that the music industry is so much about winning the lottery that every artist in the world is trying to get the big sync placements at the Super Bowl commercials, and that's well and good. And actually, this year we had our first Super Bowl commercial,
wow. That's incredible.
Just whoa, that's amazing. But also, the story is about the long tail as well, and there are and when we first started, it was always the chicken or the egg. You had to sell these amazing musicians on either the promise or the story that the subscription game is the long game, and that royalties are important. But it's going to be a slow trickle, and if you keep adding music to the platform, that's going to keep rising. And so that was a very delicate balance for us in the beginning, because we had no money, we had no subscribers, we had no business.
Yeah.
So you really had to sell get on the journey with us in a way. And luckily it worked out. And now there's, I think to date we've paid out something like $15 or $20 million to the artist community at large. And that's, I look back and I could barely make a living as a producer myself.
Yeah.
But I think my mission ultimately became helping other people make a living doing it.
Yeah.
And I was actually better at that.
Yeah.
So it because it's such a left-right brain thing, and ultimately I was blessed with that to kind of work up that mental model to be able to help some of these musicians. So it's been super rewarding to even to have their music on HBO shows and Netflix shows and a Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah.
or even small like YouTube channels and wedding videos, and that's cool too. And artists love that. So anyway,
Yeah. I mean, this kind of brings me, because a lot of the people listening are independent artists, right? Like bedroom producers, those people we're talking about. And I speak to a lot of them all the time, and they are very much focused on like the DSP, the streams, Instagram, right? And a lot of them are, maybe it's miseducation, but aren't looking at sync as like, for whether they don't know what it is, whether they don't know how to get started in it, right? Like, do you have advice to a bedroom producer that's, looking to open up that revenue stream and just tap into it? Like, how do you get started if I'm completely new to it?
well, first, like if you're a producer, if you're an artist, you're the CEO of your company,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you have to look at all the different ways you can make money. And somebody described it to me one time as you're your art and your artistry is the center of a wheel, and you have different spokes on the wheel that represent different ways that you can possibly make money. Sync is one, streaming is one, publishing is another, merch is one. You name it, and there's like 10 or 15 of these things now.
Yeah.
And if you go the route of independent, but even if you go signed, you need all of these spokes on the wheel to really make it work, and there are people that and I think having some diversification is good. And so a lot of people find themselves like, I don't know, sync is just sort of this underrepresented. It's sort of elusive. They don't know. They don't know how to approach it.
100%.
I think that's it. I think it's like this. It's black box. It's a mystery. It's sort of like publishing. This weird thing that people. It's the sexy thing that the labels do.
Yeah.
But it's not really for an independent person, and that's not true.
And you think about it from like the perspective of like volume, right? Like, because it's like playlists, right? There's so many playlists, but when you're an artist thinking about sync, you're like, I have like 2 or 3 Netflix shows I watch, right? Like, how many artists are they gonna get? Like, so you there's a misconception there, because you mentioned like 20 other places where you can land a sync, whether it be like a wedding video or things like that, right? Like through companies like Soundstripe.
Yeah.
Well, also, it's very difficult for artists to understand the dynamics in sync, because if you're self-releasing, you're by default in autopilot mode of promoting you and pushing your art out to specific destinations. And I think with sync, you have to accept the fact that the person sitting on the other side of the table has a brief, has a budget, has a timeline, has been giving creative direction from the director or someone else, and they're on the hunt to find something specific. And your track might be the answer that's going to unlock it. But it's a completely different state of mind of just making sure it's available and easy to clear.
That's right. That's so true. Sync. We're people in the sync business are serving the story on the show, right? And so we're a tool. We're a utility for this. We're not here just to promote your song, right? It's like it is exactly as you're saying, and we have a job to do, right? And sync music itself can even be there is an art to it. Like there is an art to making a great syncable song. Like, first of all, if you have like a song, it can't be super specific lyrics. Like, hey, I drank a Coke the other day and I'm going down Elm Street and I talked to my girlfriend, but she's like, I don't want to go to Costco today. Yeah. Like those kinds of songs don't get synced very well, and you need a broader message that's going to relate and work really well on that last scene of Grey's Anatomy or, whatever. So or that BMW commercial.
Mm.
So that is true. But some artists are really good at that, and you just have to kind of learn the game and talk to a lot of people in the industry. But to your point, there's more content being made than ever before. Think about like one of my great people that I love and follow is Seth Godin, marketing genius, right? Thing that he says is distribution changes what gets made and created. What he means by that is that when in the old days, there was linear TV, and it happened in 30-minute increments. And the shows that got made were Seinfeld, and Friends, and everything like that. Then cable TV came along, right? Cable TV kind of changed the game. HBO came around, and now all of a sudden you have The Sopranos, where like these long shows that go forever, right? And then the internet came around, YouTube, streaming, and now the distribution constantly changes the media landscape, and now it's all about shorts. It's about it's different right now, and so
hooks. Now it's like hooks, like TikTok hooks of
right,
like
or long form podcast, or tons of those kinds of things. And so there's more content being made than ever before. There's more, so it's not just about getting landing those big syncs on the BMW commercial anymore. It's how do you serve all of this music, all this media that needs sync licensing, and so that's really the game that Soundstripe plays, and I think it's a huge opportunity for independent artists out there that are making music. Like, how do I there's just so much media being created. It just creates an opportunity for musicians.
100%. And I mean, that kind of brings me to a question that I had is do you consider sync a part of like a marketing strategy, right? Because I'm trying to bridge the gap here between what we do at Song Tools and what you do at Soundstripe, and I think you can, right? Like, I mean, anecdotally from our perspective, like we've seen people justify sync to a music supervisor because the song is doing well on streaming, right? So you have a supervisor going between one song or the other. They might go for the one that has already like great streaming numbers versus another one because it's more proven out or validated by actual listeners, right? So do you see sync as a part of a marketing campaign in a way, or?
I do personally. I think that the two are related. Now, for some, like if you're doing music for wedding videos or something, maybe not. But the great example recently was the Kate Bush Running Up the Hill.
Yeah, that's
Stranger Things thing. Like, oh my gosh, this song just blew up.
Exploded.
Yeah. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was insane.
Ridiculous. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
It was insane. There's so many examples of that. Sia on the end of 6 Feet Under. Like, there's so many examples of songs that have just become embedded in the culture because of a sync moment. And that is the real art and creativity of true sync people that I think is really under valued. Is they're not just doing the transaction, they're actually digging in and thinking about, okay, what song's going to really serve this moment in this TV show or this movie or this film, and then how do we think about the overall song promotion on top of that and like build around that campaign. I think it's a part of your tool belt that any artist should be thinking about.
For artists who want to be proactive in the space, you mentioned a few things not to do, especially on the lyric side. Are there songwriting attributes that you think help when it comes to sync placement, whether it's high tempo, positive messages, high energy, or anything in between?
Yeah, I would say if it's music, well, a couple things. One, have easily clearable rights.
Mm.
That's number one. Number two, the music itself needs to have different sections, right? You need to think about it's not just verse, chorus, bridge, right? It's a little bit different than that. You need moments, and you need quiet moments, big moments, and bring. Need to have. And think about like a big trailer or a scene where you have this where the drums open up and everything's huge, and then you have a quiet moment, in the scene. It's still the same song, but so I would think about having different sort of sections of the song. Those do really really well, and it's not just about happy or sad songs. It like all the songs can work, or all kinds of styles work. It's really about how the song is structured that makes a huge difference. And also, what is the hook in the chorus? What's for lyrically, you need something that's going to move the scene along, right? So we're gonna have a party tonight, boom.
Yeah.
That's setting the scene. So there's tons of lyrical ideas that you could play around with like that if you're really trying to do sync well. So those are just a few of the things.
Thanks, super useful.
What are some trends right now? I think kind of just going macro again, like that you're excited about. I mean, we're here at this conference. You're probably talking to a bunch of different people, getting exposed to, a lot of ideas, whether it's in your space or not. I mean, yeah. Are there any things you're excited about looking ahead?
There's a lot of AI talk.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So there's a lot of AI talk. I'm excited for all the tools coming. I personally am not excited at all about, this may be a little controversial, of just generative music to just have it, right? I think most people are missing the point of like who's the customer and what's the use case of AI, right? So I think AI can be used as a tool for artists in a really positive way, just like, software and synths have been doing for years.
Yeah, they're assistants, right?
They're assistants,
Yeah.
and they're helping you craft a song. That's, to me, the perfect use case of AI. And I think there's some really exciting things happening. The other thing, it's more in my space, but there is such a there's a lot happening right now with even sync and digital licensing. You're seeing tons of lawsuits right now coming from the majors that are suing brands for illegally using their music on TikTok and social
Even
media
ads,
platforms.
right? Like USC and Warner and
Crumble Cookie and shoe companies and you name it. There's been a hotel chain. It is real, and this is just going to pick up. So there's a lot to be solved in this space. Soundstripes, we're a part of helping with a lot of that. More to come, but it's like there's a lot of really interesting things to do in the space of rights management. Sync is very difficult because you have to have both the publishing and the master rights to have a sync, right? And so you have to clear things on both sides, which makes it difficult if you need things in a hurry, if you need things quickly for a TV show or a podcast usage or a license or something like that. And that's why up until now, 100% owned music by independent artists works really well. for sync licensing. You know, if you have a song that has 10 writers and 5 different publishing companies and 2 different masters,
nightmare.
it's really a nightmare to clear that stuff. And there's professionals out there that do that for a job, but it's not super scalable.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of work to be done in that space as well.
I guess final question, because we're running up on time here, but is there or what's the best piece of advice you've gotten that you know, just professionally or within the music industry that, you know, you'd like to impart to anyone venturing into this world?
Besides, don't do it.
Yeah.
Stay away.
No. Yeah. So probably my favorite piece of advice that I've gotten is to know when to quit and also know when to keep going. And what I mean by that is that when you start in the music journey, you may have a certain vision of what you want, and you have a vision of where it's going to happen, where you're going to go.
Mm-hmm.
That may look completely different of what actually happens. I started in the music business thinking I was going to be a bluegrass fiddle player in all sort of bands, but then you sort of realize that, well, there's not a big demand for fiddle players nowadays. And so you kind of pivot, and then you realize, oh, I'm going to pivot again. So there's a lot of things. I've probably quit more things than stayed with it. And I, you know, I've quit producing, right? And that was like my identity. That was my passion. But then I realized I had a key unlock that unlocked me doing something else. So when people say never quit, I think that's pretty bad advice. So you have to know when to quit. Quitting could be great.
Yeah.
But then don't give up on the things that really matter.
Yeah.
And then you go hard on it, and you're really bullish on the things that really matter. And so I think that's really important. A lot of people I know have been just hammering down for 15 years at this one little thing.
Yeah.
And they haven't asked themselves, is there one slight move
Yeah.
that could change the game?
Lateral. Yeah.
Yeah.
Travis, thank you so much. It was awesome, you know, amazing stories, and thank you for joining. Thanks everyone for tuning in to the Music to Your Ears podcast. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you, Travis.
Thanks. This is awesome.